Yo, what is up, everybody? Back on another episode number 2, actually, of On the Glass podcast. I'm your host, Dakota LeBlanc, and I've got something special for y'all this week. I put a poll up on Twitter on just, kind of what ideas that y'all kind of want to see me do for future episodes, and my top 25 players of all time won the poll. And let me just be honest and real clear for you here for a second. I've been working on this list for about a week and a half now. Maybe a little bit less, probably about a week. I've been stressing over this hardcore. And let me just say that I've got it to about as good as I can get it. I don't know if I can get it any better than this, at least in my opinion. Like I said, I want to put a disclaimer out right now. This is all in my opinion. People have different criteria that people go by. I will state my criteria on how I judge some of these guys. But this is all my opinion, and everyone is going to have different opinions. So, I may have a guy higher than what you may have him, or I may have a guy in my top 25 that you may not have in your top 25. And that's okay. And I am willing, more than willing, to discuss. I love discussing, love interacting. But let's not get disrespectful or to each other if you disagree or if I disagree, because I won't get disrespectful, because this is after going through this, I've been stressed out, and I've been trying to please as many people as I could, and I'm trying to avoid as many disagreements as possible, but this is kind of what I've ended with. So going into my criteria on how I judge my top 25 players of all time. First off, I look at the All-Star appearances. How many All-Stars did I make? Or how many All-Stars did they make? Next thing is All-NBAs, which I think All-NBAs are arguably one of the most important things besides like rings and shit like that. Next is all defensive teams. You don't got to be great. You don't have to make an all defensive team to be in very, high. Some people they weren't good defenders, but they're very good players. But having all defensive teams on your record does help you in a way. Next would be like accolades, like Rookie of the Year, MVPs, DPOYs, six mans, most improved. Those are pretty vital to your case as well. Obviously, championships, those are, I wouldn't say the biggest, but if you don't got rings, especially and if you played in a weaker era, you're going to be kind of, I guess, penalized is the word I'm looking for. You'll be penalized, in such way. Another thing I go over is all-time numbers. Where do they rank on all-time leaderboards? Guys like Stockton have assists and steals leader all time. Hakeem has blocks and Wilt has rebounds. Kareem points. Look at stuff like that and see where they rank on those lists, because those aren't really that important, but it's good to see where they rank with all the other greats that are on those lists. Career averages. These aren't very, very, very vital to my case, but I find it interesting just to look, see what they averaged over their career, because a lot of these guys played 15 plus years in the league, so if they have a 20-10 average, that's pretty damn good. That's more than damn good. That's elite. And then the final one is it kind of only applies to a few people, but impact. How did they impact the game? If they change the game in a way, they may not have the best accolades, but if they affected how the game is played, or they affected people that played the game, I'm gonna value that, in a very valuable way. So, without further ado, it's time for my top 25 all time. So at 25, I got Scottie Pippen. And he's got, I'll just go over his accolades first. 7-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA. He was first team 3 times, second team 2 times, and third team 2 times. He was 10 times All Defense. He was first team 8 times, and second team 2 times, and he's a 6-time champ. So I mean, it's a pretty impressive resume. And then I'm gonna get into why I put him at 25. I think he's on the fringe. That he's got a case for top 25. Most of the guys outside, like I would say my probably top 11 or 12, they're pretty debatable. You can make a case for anybody, especially when you get back into like the last half of that top 20 or 20 through 25. It's all personal preference. So Scottie may not be on your list, but I think he's underrated in a sense that he kind of lived in MJ's shadow. When you play next to an all-time great like Mike, you're not going to get some of the credit you deserved. I mean, you can see that in Scottie's contract. I don't know if y'all are watching the Last Dance Michael Jordan documentary, but he was honestly disrespected by the organization. And I feel like Mike didn't even value him the way he did. So I feel like he doesn't get enough credit as is. And just to show you how good he is, he had 2 top 5 finishes in MVP voting, 93, 94, and 95, 96. Now, granted, I will say he wouldn't be the same if he never played with Jordan. He wouldn't be the Scottie Pippen we know him as today. But he greatly benefited playing with him and playing in that system. So yeah, I guess those two kind of go hand in hand. I mean, you can kind of say everything he did was based off of playing with Jordan, but I still think he would have been decent in NBA history, you could say, as far as accolades go. I mean, would he be a top 25 player if he never played with Mike? Probably not. I think he because it's like when you play with all-time great like that, they tend to focus more on him. So it created a lot of opportunity for Scottie, and the triangle they played in, it allowed him to flourish. So yeah, he probably wouldn't be the same without Mike, but it happened that way, and he's got the accolades he's got. So that's my 25th best player of all time. Moving to 24. And I feel disrespectful putting this guy here, but it's Oscar Robertson. A lot of people have Oscar top 10, top 15, but I just couldn't. The era hurts many guys' cases, especially in this top 25. Era hurts them a lot. Oscar's one of those guys. He was a great player, and like I said, many have him top 10, but in my eyes, the era hurts him. Let's go over his accolades here. 12-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA, 9 times first team, 2 times second team. 1960-61 Rookie of the Year, 1963-64 MVP, and he's a 1-time champ. My thing, the way I look at this era thing is those are, he has a good number of All-Stars, good number of All-NBAs. He has MVP Rookie of the Year, and he's got a championship. But in a weaker era like that, if you're going to be considered in a top 15 or even my top 10, you need to dominate that era. Like Bill Russell dominated an era. Like if you're not, like he had the All-NBA appearances, but he don't got the championships or the MVPs, So, like I said, I feel like it's disrespectful to put him there, but like I said, this is all in my eyes, so don't hate too much. Great player. Like I said, hell of a player and top 5 point guard. But, it's one of those things where it's just the era hurts him too much in this case. Moving on to 23. And this guy is hella slept on. John Havlicek. Hondo. And I can see why. But before I get into the why, go over his stats or his accolades. 13-time All-Star. 11-time All-NBA. First team 4 times, second team 7 times, 8-time All-Defense, first team 5 times, second team 3 times, 1973-74 Finals MVP, and an 8-time champ. And I'll be honest, originally I had him top 15. But after I penalized all the other great players from the weaker eras, I had to penalize him. He ended up at 23. Like I said, I feel like he's an underrated player all time. But I think it's because, he played next to Bill Russell. When you look at Bill Russell's accolades, I mean, it's insane. Motherfucker won 11 rings. But, I mean, he's an 8-time champ as well. I mean, he missed out on 3 of those championships next to Bill, but I mean, he's still a 13-time All-Star and 11-time All-NBA. That 8-time All-Defense. Those are incredible numbers. And, but I was like, well, if he's playing next to Bill, he could just be hidden in his shadow like, a Scottie Pippen type. And I find that true. He finished top 5 in MVP voting 2 years in a row, like Scottie. He did it in 71, 72, and 72, 73. So, he kind of was, I guess, Bill Russell's Scottie Pippen. When people threw whatever at Bill, they were able to. My dog's going crazy out there. He's able to go and give it to John, and Hondo delivered. Like I said, I originally had Havlicek 15, but. After penalizing everybody else, I had to penalize him just a little bit. Moving on to 22, and I have this guy. I feel fucked up about this, but I have Jerry West here at 22. I think he could have had a case for top 15, but like I said, era hurt him. He was a 14-time All-Star, 12-time All-NBA, first team 10 times, second team 2 times. 5-time All-Defense, first team 4 times, second team 1 time. He was the 68-69 Finals MVP, and he's a 1-time champ. So obviously the era hurt him. Like all the other great players from that era, the era hurt him. In my eyes, I don't really think his Finals MVP counts because he lost. He's the only player to get Finals MVP in a losing effort. So in my eyes, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it counts. He was top 5 in MVP voting 8 years and finished second in 4 of them. But was never able to get an MVP. That hurt him. That hurt his case. Like I said, many have the logo top 15, but I mean, I just couldn't because he didn't dominate a weak era like Bill Russell or even a Wilt. Jerry West is good. Super good. I mean, he's a logo for a reason, but I mean, no MVPs. He only got 1 championship. Personal accolades are off the charts, but I need more success. Moving on to number 21, Isaiah Thomas, the bad boy himself, my Detroit Pistons, all-time great point guard, 12-time All-Star. 5-time All-NBA, first team 3 times, second team 2 times. He's the 89-90 Finals MVP and a 2-time champ. And I think a lot of people, I think they overlook Isaiah Thomas. And I mean, looking at his All-NBA appearances, he doesn't have any All-Defensive teams, no MVPs. I get it, but my reasoning for putting him in the top 25 is. What he had a super short prime. Okay, so his prime was he only played, I believe, like 12, 13 seasons. So he had a short prime, but all that he accomplished came in the Bird, Magic, and Jordan era. I mean, it's arguably one of the toughest eras to play in. That little 8-9 year span where all of them were at the top of their game. He snuck in 2 championships. And I do want to say this, and I know a lot of people aren't going to agree, but I know Pistons Twitter will agree. Michael Jordan isn't who he... Actually, hold on. Time out. Let me rephrase that. He was the leading factor in molding Michael Jordan into the GOAT status. Because, like the documentary said, I forgot who said it, but at the time when Jordan couldn't get over the Bad Boy Pistons, he was seen as kind of like a Dominique Wilkins type of guy who was going to get you buckets, but could he win the big games? And at the time, no. He couldn't get past the Bad Boys. Finally did, and the rest is history. But I want to say Isaiah Thomas was a big part of that. And you can see that in the documentary because Michael Jordan cannot stand that motherfucker. Can't stand him. I get it. That's fine. But, he only had one top 5 finish in MVP voting, though, which was 83-84. I believe he finished third. And, like I said, he never really had that many accolades, like All-NBAs or MVPs or Rookie of the Years or whatever. But, like I said, everything he accomplished came in that short span where Magic, Jordan, and Bird were dominating the league. So I gave him a lot of credit there. And I guess you can kind of say it's a little biased, too, because I am a Pistons fan, so it's whatever. We'll move on. Moving on. Number 20, Karl Malone. Numbers are godly, and so are his personal accolades. 14-time All-Star, 14-time All-NBA, first team 11 times, and then second team 2 times, and a third team. 4-time All-Defense, first team 3 times, then he had a second team, 2-time MVP. But like that duo, Karl Malone and John Stockton, they couldn't win the big games. They couldn't hit the big shots. If they were able to hit the big ones, they probably have a title. They probably have at least one. You could make the argument for more, but they couldn't win the big games when they counted. But accolades wise, Karl Malone's got a case for top 15, but I can't stand this motherfucker. Got a 13-year-old girl pregnant when he was 20. That's legacy shattering. And in my eyes, I think Karl Malone's a piece of shit. But we're not going to go into that. I don't really feel like talking about that. But that like I said, that's legacy shattering. You can't overcome that. That's a horrible act, and that's why I got him so low. That's really the reason I got him so low. That was his penalty against him, because that's horrible. That's fucking awful. Now we're moving inside the top 20. On the 19, we got Dwayne Wade. And a lot of people are going to think this is really high for Dwayne. I think otherwise. 13-time All-Star, 8-time All-NBA. He had 2 first teams, 3 second teams, and 3 third teams. He's a 3-time All-Defense, and all 3 of them were second team. He's the 05-06 Finals MVP, and he was a 3-time champ. And this kind of falls back on people forget how good Dwayne Wade was before LeBron got there. When LeBron got there, he sacrificed everything to win. He took that back seat. He fell into the shadows. He's okay with it. Because LeBron came in and LeBron was the show. But that's understandable though. LeBron's a top 5 player all time, and arguably better. But we'll get into that later. I don't think he would have got the other rings that he got without Bron, but he showed in 05-06 that he could be the best player on a winning team. He showed he could do it. Do I think he gets 2 more rings? Probably not. He might have got 1 more without Bron, but because you don't know how differently that team looks without Bron. Who do they sign? Who do they bring in to put next to D-Wade? So those are the questions you got to ask yourself when you're making those type of accusations. So I don't think he gets 2 more rings without Bron, but Bron definitely helped him. Never got an MVP, but he had 2 top 5 finishes in MVP voting, 08-09 and 2009-2010. Like I said, I think people forget how good Dwayne Wade was because of what LeBron went there and did. Miami Bron was incredible. But Dwayne Wade went out and won a title, with basically him and Shaq. So people are going to disrespect Wade and probably not even put him top 25, but I think he's a top 20 player all time. Moving on to 18, I got Julius Erving. 16-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA, first team 5 times, and then second team 2 times. He was a 1-time All-Defensive guy. It was the first team. He had 1 MVP, and he was a 1-time champ. And I'll be honest with you, I initially forgot about Julius. When I first made my go round, Julius Erving did not make the list. Then I kind of went back through and sat down and reconsidered people, and then I remembered Julius Erving. But that's partly due to the era. A lot of his success came in the ABA, but when he came over, he was still super good. And I tried not counting his ABA stats when doing this, but he had 2 rings in the ABA and 3 MVPs. So he had four MVPs total and 3 championships. I mean, that's pretty impressive. And had he put up those numbers in the NBA instead of the ABA, I mean, you're looking at a top 15 player all time. But like I said, I kind of gave a small penalty to mostly everybody that played in that era just because of the era, Now, when you start getting into the 80s and 90s, people won't get that penalty because of how strong the league became. But yeah, shout out to Dr. J. At 17, I got the man himself, Kevin Durant. And this one was I didn't really know where to put Kevin Durant, honestly. I have so many mixed thoughts and emotions about Kevin Durant, so it was kind of hard comparing him to these different guys and trying to find his spot on the list, because no doubt he's a top 25 player all time, no doubt. But where is the question? 10-time All-Star, 9-time All-NBA, first team 6 times, second team 3 times, 07-08 Rookie of the Year, 13-14 MVP. He's a 2 times Final MVP, 2-time champ. He is a 2-time champ. Okay, and nobody can take that from him. Okay, because once you win a ring, that it's yours. You're a champion. But I think everybody, myself included, looks at those rings differently. He left the OKC after blowing a 3-1 lead to that team. That team also won, what'd they go, 73-9? Yeah, they won 73 games without Kevin Durant, and he went there after blowing a 3-1 lead to him. That's the problem with it, Everyone else that kind of created big threes, they didn't go to who beat them, Michael didn't go to Detroit. Larry didn't go to LA. Bron didn't go to Boston, But he went to the team that beat him. And I think that's the biggest gripe that everyone has against that. And I will say, we'd be having a totally different conversation if he gets those two rings in OKC. We're having a totally different conversation right now. I mean, we're looking at it as he's automatically top 15 right then and there. Maybe pushing fringe top 10 just off of those 2 rings. But, he didn't. Looking at the rest of his career, though, he has a very high chance to be a top 10 player all time. Very high chance. But, in my eyes, and like I said earlier in the pod, in my eyes, this is my opinion, he's got to prove that he can get a ring without 3 Hall of Famers next to him. If he can win a ring in Brooklyn, I would value that ring more than Golden State's ring. I can't have any value next to those rings, and I think that's what hurts him. I mean, outside of that, his resume is already looking pretty good. I mean, obviously he's got to get more All-Stars and All-NBAs, and maybe a few All-Defensive teams, but it's the championships that are holding him back. Also, speaking of Kevin Durant, I want to see him come back healthy, please. If that Achilles injury does end up taking Kevin Durant from us, that's going to fucking suck. That's going to suck big time. Because, like I said in last episode, Kevin Durant's one of the most gifted scorers we've ever seen. I mean, he's literally a demigod. He's 7 foot tall, got handled like a guard. He can shoot lights out. He's incredible. He's a credible player. And I hope the basketball gods don't rob us of him. I would like to see him hopefully win another ring because that would help out his legacy. But yeah, so on to number 16. And I have this guy a little high, but I think he deserves it. I mean, whatever. So number 16, I was gonna say something, but I'll just get into it once I name the player. Number 16, Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley, 11-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA, first team 5 times, second team 5 times, third team 1 time. He was also the 92-93 MVP. And I think I ranked him so high is because people forgot how dominant he was at 6'6". He was a 6'6" power forward, and he was dominating the league. He grabbed an MVP in Jordan's era, and he only made the finals once, but he lost in 6 to the Bulls. So I mean, it's like I looked through some of his old playoff history, and I think he only made it to the conference finals one other time outside of making it to the finals. So yeah, and that's gonna be most people's gripe is that he didn't win a ring. And I get it, and that's why I ultimately had him 16, because I feel like everyone inside the top 15, you need a ring. If you're a top 15 player all time, you need at least a championship. So that's why I have Barkley sitting right on the outside. If he has a ring, we're looking at a totally different ranking for Charles Barkley, which is insane because I feel like some people don't even bring him up in the context of some of the greater players to play. It's crazy. I mean, I feel like it's because, Shaq always makes, jokes with him on TNT about how he has no rings, so people think Charles Barkley was a bum. No, that man was not a bum. That man was not a bum, and do not believe anybody that tells you Charles Barkley was a bum, because he wasn't. He wasn't. But here we are, already to the top 15. This is flying by. Already to the top 15, and I've got a hot take right off the top. My 15th best player all time, Steph Curry. Steph motherfucking Curry. 6-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA, first team 3 times, second team 2 times, third team 1 time. He's a 2 times MVP and a 3-time champ. And like I brought up in the criteria, if you made an impact on the game and you changed the way the game's played, you automatically are pretty valuable in my eyes. And Steph Curry did that. He changed an entire era pretty much by himself. Gilbert Arenas helped. Gilbert was kind of like Steph before Steph, but it was mainly Steph Curry. He's the first unanimous MVP ever. Jordan didn't do it. Magic didn't do it. Kareem didn't do it. You name them, they didn't do it. Steph was the first to do it. And in my opinion, he was robbed of Finals MVP in 14-15. I don't think Iguodala should have won that. I mean, Iguodala got Finals MVP for holding LeBron to, godly numbers. Are you serious? I think LeBron still averaged, fucking almost 30 in that series. He averaged, 38 and 8 or, 28, 8 and 8 or something like that. He gets a Finals MVP for that? You fucking serious? So, I think Steph was robbed. He's the greatest shooter of all time. And that's not even debatable at this point. He is the greatest shooter of all time. And I will say this, and this may seem like a hot take, but I think he has a chance at being the best point guard of all time. I think he has a real chance at having that title. But he needs to stay healthy, one. The damn ankles are killing him. He broke his wrist this year, I think. He needs to stay healthy. And he needs to have a steady ending to his career, because 6-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA, that's worse than what Scottie had. I had Scottie at 25, but due to his impact, I had him high, and his championships and all that. But Steph needs to make some more All-Stars, All-NBAs. All-Stars he's going to get. I'm not even worried about that. He's going to get All-Star appearances. He'll probably end up with 10 or 11. And I imagine he'll finish with probably 10 or 11 All-NBAs too. So I'm not really particularly worried, but, stay healthy, finish strong. At least steady. Don't have a fall off, and don't become just a role-playing shooting guard, point guard. But I don't think he's going to do that. Steph's one of the greats all time. And I think, if like with KD, if Steph can continue on this trajectory, I think he'll be a top 10 player of all time. So, shout out to Steph. A lot of y'all ain't going to be able, ain't going to like to hear that, but I got Steph at 15. At 14, and I know you motherfuckers are going to hate this one because everybody hates this motherfucker. At 14, I got Dirk Nowitzki. Granted, he is my favorite player of all time, or he's up there. He's top 3. I got Dirk at 14, and like I said, if you have an impact on how the game's played or who plays the game, you are automatically very valuable in my eyes. Dirk was a 14-time All-Star, 12-time All-NBA, he was the first team 4 times, second team 5 times, third team 3 times, 06-07 MVP, 2010-2011 Finals MVP, and a one-time champ. Dirk changed the game for Europeans forever. Forever. Dirk's the best European of all time, and I don't think anyone will ever take that from him. Giannis has a chance. I will say that. Giannis has a chance, but Giannis still has a long career ahead of him, so I don't want to say anything too definite right now, but Giannis has a chance. But Dirk's the greatest European of all time. Also, in my eyes, he has the most valuable ring of all time. He beat the Heat Big 3, and I'm trying to think of most valuable rings of all time. Bronze championship in 2016, where he came back from 3-1. That's pretty valuable. And this is biased, but I consider all 3 of the Pistons rings very valuable because they've never had a past or present MVP on the roster when winning those titles. So, yeah, past, present, or future. I will say that. Sorry, I left that out. Past, present, or future MVP on that roster when they won titles. So, those are some of the most valuable rings in my eyes. And I think Dirk's is the most valuable because he kind of took down the first super team. Obviously, Boston kind of had one at that time, but that Miami Big 3 Heat team was like kind of the start of Big 3s and super teams and shit like that. And like I said, I don't think you motherfuckers give Dirk the respect he has earned. Dirk was fucking great. And had other power forwards not been so great, he'd been higher in the list. Dirk was incredible. And I feel like you motherfuckers shit on him because he's got only one MVP or one title. Dirk was great. Stop hating. Just haters. Y'all are haters, man. Alright. Let me get off my pedestal now. I'm going to stop ranting about Dirk. Number 13. Moses Malone. I think Moses Malone is criminally underrated. 13-time All-Star, 8-time All-NBA, first team 4 times, second team 4 times, 2-time All-Defense. He had a first team and a second team, 3-time MVP, 82-83 Finals MVP, and a one-time champ. He was an absolute monster. Looking at his career averages, he basically averaged 25 and 15 in his MVP years against all-time great centers. He played in that era where all the great centers played. He had incredible numbers, incredible accolades. But I wish he won more rings. If he wins more rings, I think he could maybe move up the list a little bit. I don't know. It's just once I get inside my top 15, everything starts to become a little bit more definite. It's alright, this guy is for sure here, and no one's going to take that from him unless it's a new guy coming up the list. But yeah, 13, Moses Malone. Number 12, and I feel like y'all motherfuckers are going to think this one's a little high too, but Kevin Garnett. I think people really forget how good he was in Minnesota, because when he went to Boston, he was still very, very good, but his numbers in Minnesota were insane. He had insane peak years. He averaged 20, 11, and 14 seasons in Minnesota. He was a 15-time All-Star, 9-time All-NBA, first team 4 times, second team 3 times, third team 2 times. He was 12-time All-Defense, first team 9 times, second team 3 times, the 07-08 DPOY, 03-04 MVP, and he was a one-time champ. And he's arguably, in some people's case, the greatest power forward of all time. He had 5 top 5 finishes in MVP voting. He finished second in 99, 2000, 02, 03, and then he won it in 03, 04. Like I said, his peak years in Minnesota were insane. And it wasn't even like he fell off dramatically when he was Boston. I mean, he still averaged 18 and 10. But this man was I think his MVP season he averaged 24 and 12 or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's late at night and I'm trying to do this real quick cuz I've got a lot of shit to do, but talk about that after the podcast. All right. So now we get to my top 11, and my top 11 is set in stone. Everyone outside the top 11 can be changed. I've changed around for 4 days now, moving people different places and then moving them back, and keep moving them. But my top 11 is set. At 11, I got Wilt Chamberlain, arguably the most unstoppable player of all time. 13-time All-Star, 10-time All-NBA. He was first team 7 times, second team 3 times. 2-time All-Defense, and they were both first teams, but that wasn't created till 69-70, so that's kind of screwed up his stats right there, because I imagine he made some All-Defensive teams. But, yeah, he was the 1959-1960 Rookie of the Year, 4-time MVP, 71-72 Finals MVP, 2-time champ. He's the all-time rebounding leader at 23,924 boards. Error penalized him. I made a list. When did I make my last list? I made my last list, I'd say, let's see, what am I, 20? I probably made it 4 years ago. I probably made it on 16. And I didn't really take in era as a factor. But now that I've kind of grown and gotten more knowledge of the game, I think that eras did matter. And in this case, I bumped Wilt down a lot, actually. I think I had Wilt top 5. He only got 2 championships, and I think he should have had more for how unstoppable he was. But regardless, I mean, Wilt was a great player, and like I said, arguably the most unstoppable player of all time. Now we're at the top 10. At 10, I got Bill Russell. And like all the other old-time players, era hurt him. He was a 12-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA, first team 3 times, second team 8 times. He was a 1-time All-Defense. It was the first team, but like I said, it was only created in 69-70, so that got him at the back half of his career. He's a 5-time MVP, 11-time champion. But also I need to put this out here. There was no Finals MVP, no steals, no blocks, or no Defensive Player of the Years when Russell was in his prime. I think DPOY was created in 83, 84. So a lot of that stuff Bill Russell kind of got fucked out on. But like I said, era hurt him. It hurt him in the long run. But he's got 11 rings, 5 MVPs. That's some GOAT numbers right there. And his resume would have been even more impressive if they did track all that stuff he would have missed out on. And rumor is he probably had been all-the-time blocks leader, and I believe it. I believe it. Bill Russell was a freak, absolute freak. At 9, I got Hakeem Olajuwon, and I know you motherfuckers sleep on him. I know this one for sure. 12-time All-Star, 12-time All-NBA. He was first team 6 times, second team 3 times, third team 3 times, 9-time All-Defense. He was first team 5 times, second team 4 times. 93-94 MVP, 2-time Finals MVP, 2-time champ, all-time block leader at 3,830. Like I said, all-time numbers, I'd take those in heavily consideration. When you have an all-time leader, that means you're the best to ever do it in the league. And granted, Bill Russell's blocks didn't get tracked, so that might have been a different story. But he ended up the blocks leader. I would say he's one of the most underrated players of all time. But I think it's because his rings and MVPs came during MJ's retirement. I think that's his knock. I think people assume that he wouldn't have got the rings or the MVPs, and I think he gets the rings regardless. He may not get the MVP if Jordan plays, but I think he gets the rings regardless. Because who's guarding Hakeem on that Bulls team? I mean, you can put Robin on him. I mean, I kind of get it, but like, I think the difference between, like, let's say like that Orlando team, the Rockets played in the finals for Hakeem's title. I think Hakeem's team was better structured for around him. So if they did focus everything on stopping Hakeem, he still had enough help around him to get him a win. I think Shaq's team, with him being such a rookie, they hadn't structured the team properly yet to be around him, which is fine. I mean, Shaq's still one of the greatest of all time, but this is about Hakeem, and I still think he gets the rings. May not get the MVP, but definitely gets the rings for sure. Maybe not both, but he at least gets one. At 8, Larry Bird. 12-time All-Star, 10-time All-NBA, first team 9 times, second team 1 time, 3-time All-Defense, all 3 were second team. He's a 79-80 Rookie of the Year, 3-time MVP, 2 times Finals MVP, and then 3-time champ. I think Larry Bird's also a little slept on, but not much. Larry Bird was great. He battled for supremacy in the league with a guy I have higher on the list, which is Magic. And he often bested Magic. 3 MVPs and 3 rings. I mean, obviously, Magic got the upper hand most of the time, but Larry Bird, he was hanging in there. And when you're second best player in the league for a time period when it's just you and another guy battling out, you're going to be pretty high up there on the list. And he kicked Jordan's ass every year before playing Magic every year. So it wasn't like he kind of just had like a cakewalk to the finals. I mean, those Bulls teams weren't the best, but I mean, Michael Jordan was still Michael Jordan almost at that time. He was still giving. I mean, like they gave him 63 in TD Garden, gave him 63. So I mean, final point I want to make on Larry Bird was Larry's fucking nice. He was nice, fucking nice, man. I don't know how you could hate on fucking Larry. Larry was nice with it. And at 7, I got Shaq. Shaquille O'Neal. 15-time All-Star, 14-time All-NBA. First team 8 times, second team 2 times, third team 4 times. Yeah, 3-time All-Defense, which I went over that in the last episode. All 3 were second team. 92-93 Rookie of the Year. 99-2000 MVP. 3-time Finals MVP, and a 4-time champ. Shaq's up there with the Wilts of most unstoppable players of all time. He was so fucking dominant. And I guess my only gripe with Shaq is I wish he had got like one more MVP. Just like one more. You get one more, I mean, I think you're pushing top 5. But maybe even another championship. But yeah, I think you need one more MVP. Yeah, only getting one's kind of tough. Especially when you're trying to talk about, top 5 players of all time. But before I move on to the next 6 players, I want to put this out here. The next 6 players I'm about to name has a valid argument in my eyes for being in the GOAT conversation. There's 6 players that I think could be in that conversation and have a legitimate argument. Everyone else, I don't think. I don't think you can say Shaq's the GOAT. But these next 6 players I name, I think they have a valid case. And you can make the argument for them. And I'm not going to hate you if you say it. I might disagree, but I'm not going to be overly upset if you say one of these guys is the GOAT. I also have 2 ties in this. I have two sets of players tied for a position. And at 5 comes the first tie. So 5B, I have Kobe Bryant. And I know you Kobe stands out there are going to hate this, but in my eyes, he's 5th best player of all time. 18-time All-Star, 15-time All-NBA, First team 11 times, second team 2 times, third team 2 times. Yeah. 12-time All-Defense, first team 9 times, and then second team 3 times. He was the 07-08 MVP, 2 times Finals MVP, and a 5-time champ. And he could have been higher. I think he could be a lot higher if he had gotten another MVP. I think another MVP or two, and you're looking at top 3. But due to that, it's not there. And it also, in my eyes, I think it also branched on his lack of success without All-Star Hall of Fame big next to him. He was never. Now, granted, Kobe was a killer, and I love him. Miss you, Kobe. But he won his titles with bigs next to him, like Hall of Fame bigs. I put Powell in the Hall of Fame. But yeah, I got him tied top 5. And had he got like another MVP or 2, he's probably top 3. And I think that's a fair argument. But yeah, moving on to the next person who I got tied with Kobe. 5A, Tim Duncan. And Tim Duncan's underrated as hell. And I believe it was because he just wasn't that flashy player. He's never the guy that can get that highlight poster dunk or do these crazy dribble moves. I mean, he's fundamental as hell. And but granted, he may not be in that flashy player, but he was still cooking your favorite team nightly basis. Believe that. 15-time All-Star, 15-time All-NBA. First team 10 times, second team 3 times, third team 2 times, 15-time All-Defense, first team 8 times, 7-time 2-team. Excuse me, it's late at night. Second team 7 times. He was 97-98 Rookie of the Year, 2-time MVP, 3-time Finals MVP, and a 5-time champ. He's the only player to have 15 All-Stars, 15 All-NBAs, and 15 All-Defensive teams. And I personally think he could be even higher than 5 if Nash didn't steal MVPs from him. Now, granted, Nash is a great player, but I don't think he's a 2-time MVP. Love Nash, but I think one should have went to Kobe and one should have went to Timmy. And if Timmy gets that other MVP, I mean, I don't know where I'm putting him, but he's up there. He's up there. I'll say that. At 4. I got Magic Johnson, 12-time All-Star, 10-time All-NBA, first team 9 times, and then he had 1 second team, 3-time MVP, 3-time Finals MVP, 5-time champ. And I think the thing that's most frustrating with me is he missed 4 seasons of his prime, pretty much, because he got HIV. If he doesn't miss those seasons, I think he has even a better case of being the GOAT. Like, I think he could be like a legit number 1 on GOAT rankings. Like, it's insane, like, what he did. And, like, man. The basketball gods, man, they robbed us. We missed, because when Magic came back, it wasn't the same Magic, man. He came back for 1 season. He played, I think it was 20 games, and that Magic was done. That Magic was done. It was awful. Oh, man. They robbed us of 4 great seasons from Magic. Because, I mean, he might honestly have another championship or 2. Probably another MVP or Finals MVP. So, yeah, that's tough. All right. Now, top 3. My top 3 players of all time. At 3, I got Kareem. 19-time All-Star, 15-time All-NBA, first team 10 times, second team 5 times, 11-time All-Defense, first team 5 times, second team 6 times. He was the 69-70 Rookie of the Year, 6-time MVP, 2-time Final MVP, 6-time champ, and he's the all-time scoring leader at 38,387 points. Most All-Stars all-time. He's got the same amount of rings and MVPs as Jordan. And I think people overlook him in a way because people are so caught up in the Kobe and Mike LeBron debate that they sleep on Kareem. Kareem's resume is fucking incredible. Honestly, and I think I have to give him a slight penalty due to era, but I mean, I don't see why he can't be in the conversation for GOAT. I mean, Kareem was fucking good, incredible. And coming down to the final two players, I also got them tied because it's too close to call. 1B, I got LeBron James, 16-time All-Star, 15-time All-NBA, first team 12 times, second team 2 times, third team 1 time. He was 6-time All-Defense, first team 5 times in the second team. 03-04 Rookie of the Year, 4-time MVP, 3 times Final MVP, and 3-time champ. Personally, I think Bron will eventually pass Jordan when it's all said and done. When LeBron retires, I think he'll pass Jordan. With that being said, though, he needs at least another ring or two. He'll need at least 1 ring, but I think 2 is realistic. He's going to need another MVP, and he's going to need the all-time point record. I think, without a doubt in my mind, I think he gets the all-time point record. But the other 2 are going to be tough. I think regardless, they'll stay tied at least. They'll at least be tied no matter what. And then, number 1, of course, Michael Jordan. No need to explain. Michael Jordan is Michael fucking Jordan. 14-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA, first team 10 times, second team 1 time, 9-time All-Defense, 84-85 Rookie of the Year, 87-88 DPOY, 6-time MVP, 6-time Finals MVP, 6-time champ. Yeah, I mean, you could probably add, some more accolades in there due to his retirement and stuff, but MJ's the GOAT, man. Well, right now at least he's tied with Bron, but I don't think I need to explain why MJ's there. It's Michael fucking Jordan. But yeah, that's my top 25 list, man. I've been stressing these past few days over this. It feels finally good to record it and have it set in stone. It's currently 2:47 in the morning. I don't sleep anymore. I work on schoolwork because I'm trying to finish up this semester. And I wake up and do more schoolwork and prep podcasts and stuff like that. Maybe play Call of Duty and shit like that. But yeah. So I appreciate y'all tuning in. If y'all haven't seen episode 1, go back and check episode 1 out. I had fun. I mean, this is fun. This is a new experience. I've enjoyed every second of it. But yeah, I appreciate the support. Honestly, podcast number 1, episode 1, got way more views than what I expected it to do. So this time, I do ask that y'all like the video. If you're seeing this part, like the video for me, please subscribe. The views are always welcome. Y'all honestly shocked the hell out of me. I think the last time I checked, it had 62 views. So shout out to y'all. And yeah, I'd like to thank y'all for tuning in. Let me know what y'all think. Once again, I'll put my Twitter in the bio. If not, comment on the video. Let me know. Let me know your top 3, your top 5. Let's discuss. I'm more willing to see other people's answers to this. I like to see what everyone thinks. So yeah, with that being said, this is On the Glass Podcast. Oh, Jesus Christ. Hey, man, it's late and I'm tired. It's On the Glass Podcast, episode number 2, top 25 players all time. Thank y'all. Stay safe. Jesus, man, I got to take my ass to bed. Stay safe out there. Don't let the corona get you. Hope your family stay safe in these tough times. Thank y'all. Like the video, please. Peace out.